Hello, welcome back. I'm Abhishek De Silva, an undergraduate of the JAM Institute for Advanced Technology. Welcome back with the project named eShop, and today I'm going to discuss about the program of the seller store, including product sorting and pagination processes. Here we can see in the header part the profile image, name, email are displaying of the relevant user, and here we can see the user's products are in here. Through this add product button we redirect into the product adding page, and then here we can see the pagination. Here is the product sorting part where we can sort the product from newest to oldest, oldest to newest, high to low, and by using this, by clicking on this sort button, the sort process done. And then through this clear button it clears all the sorts that we have done. So then let's move to the code of this. At the very beginning I have used the PHP script and I have included a session start, and then I have included the connection.php file where our connection code with the database has coded. And then inside if condition I have checked whether if a session by the name u is set. If so, I am obtaining the email in the session by the name u, and then storing that in a variable called email here. And then I'm creating a variable called page number, and then here I have again used the PHP script and I have called a search function, and I have given the search query select all from profile image table where the user email equals to the email that we have got, and storing the relevant information we get back from the database in a variable called profile image result set, and then checking the number of rows in it and storing that in a variable called profile image num. And then inside if condition I have checked whether the profile image num is equal to 1. If so, I'm obtaining the data in the profile image num through the fetch as hook and storing that in a variable called profile image data, and then closing the PHP script and opening the PHP script. In between these two I have used the image tag and I have a code the path of the image that we have obtained, that's stored in the array called profile image data to the src of this image tag. And then in the else part of this if condition, if the profile image number is not equal to 1, then we use a default image as the profile image of the user. And then here we have used again the PHP script and we have a code the first name that's stored in the session called u. Here I have a code the value that's stored in the variable called email, and then here I have used an on click for this add product button, and I have given as window.location equal add product.php file. Here's the product sorting part. Here's the input related to the search, and I have given an id as s here, and then I have given the id as 0 to the oldest to newest, and then I have given id as h to this high to low label, and then I have given the id as l to this input tag of the low to high label, and then I have given the id as b to the input tag related to the brand new label, and then similarly I have given the id as u to the input tag of this label with the text as u. And then here I have given an on click for this sort button. I have called the function as sort1 and I have sent a parameter 0 with this function, and then in this clear button where we clear the sort we have done, there too I have given on click as clear sort. I will discuss about these two functions later. And then here is the product viewing part. Here too I have used the PHP script, and inside if condition I have checked whether a value by the name page comes through the method called get. If so, we obtain that and storing that in a variable called page number, and if this was not set, then it comes to the else part of this if condition, then we assign a value as 1 to this page number variable. And then I have called a search function here with the query as select all from the product table where user email equals to the email that we have got, and then storing that result we get back from the database in a variable called product result set, and then check the number of rows in the product result set variable and storing that in a variable called product num here. And then I'm creating a variable as results per page and storing the value as 5. And then after that I'm again creating a variable as number of pages, and I am using the ceil here, which means to round off to nearest whole number. And then inside that I'm dividing the number of products from the results per page to obtain number of pages. So then after that I have created again a variable as page results, and then I'm assigning here a value through a calculation as subtracting 1 from the page number that we get and multiplying it by the results per page. And then again I'm calling a search function with the query as select all from the product table, where user email equals to the email, and I'm using a limit here to limit the results we get, and a limit by the results per page. Here it means we use a limit of 5, and then we use an offset as the page results and storing that in a variable called selected result set. And after that checking the number of rows in it and storing that in a variable called selected num, and using a for loop here. Within that creating a variable called x and assigning 0 and check whether the value of x is less than the selected num, and using an increment here. And inside this for loop I have used the fetch assoc function and obtained the row by row that's stored in the selected results variable, and storing that in a variable called selected data. And after that I have used the card here, and inside that too I have used the PHP script, and I have called a search function with the query as select all from the product image table, where product ID equals to the ID that's stored in this selected data array, and store in the relevant result set we get back from the database in a variable called product image result set, and through the fetch assoc obtaining the relevant image and storing that in a variable called product image data. And then for the src of this image tag I echo the image path that's stored in this array called product image data. And then after that for the title of this product I echo the title that's stored in the variable or the array called selected data. And then as the price I echo the price that's stored in this array called selected data within this PHP script. And then as the quantity I echo the quantity that's stored in the array called selected data within this PHP script. And after that here is the part which make the product deactive and active. I will discuss about that in a separate video. And here is the product update button. There I have gone on click as send ID, and I have sent the product ID that's stored in the array called selected data. The update process too I will discuss in a separate video. And then after that the pagination process. Here inside the PHP script I have checked whether the value that's stored in the variable called page number is less than or equal to 1. If so we echo a hashtag here, and then if this page num is not equal to or less than 1 then it comes to else part of this if condition, and we echo the page number by subtracting 1, and we concat that into the URL. Here too I have used the PHP script, and I have used a for loop here by creating a variable called x and assigning the value 1 to it, and then check the value of x is less than or equal to the number of pages, and I have used an increment here. And inside that I have used a if condition and checks whether the value that's stored in the variable called x is equal to the variable called page number. If so, displaying this list tag with the href as the value of this variable called x by binding it to the URL by the name page, and then here echo the value of x. And then after that in the else of this if condition there too I echo the value of x as the value of this anchor tag, and as the href of this anchor tag there too I echo the value of this x and binding it to the URL through the name page. And then here again using a PHP script, and within that I have used if condition and check whether the page number is greater than or equal to the number of pages. If so, echo a hashtag here and if the page number is not greater than or equal to number of pages, then it comes to the else part of this if condition, and then it echoes the page number by adding 1 to it and binding it to the URL with the name page here. And then let's talk about these two functions, the sort1 function and the clear sort function. Here in the sort1 function, in the JavaScript side, I have obtained the value that's sent from the myproduct.php file as x here, and then I have obtained the element with the id called s and storing that in a variable called search here, and I'm creating a variable called time and assigning a value as 0. And then inside if condition, I'll check whether the element with the id called n is checked. If so, I am assigning a value as 1 to this variable called time. And then if it comes to the else condition, then there too it checks whether the element with the id o is checked. If so, assigning the value as 2 to this time variable. And then I have created a variable as quantity and assigned a value as 0 to it. And then I have used if condition and checked whether the element with the id called h is checked. If so, assigning a value as 1 to the quantity variable. And then if it comes to the else part of this if condition, there too I checked whether the element with the id called l is checked. If so, then the quantity variable is assigned with the value called 2. And then I have created a condition variable and assigned the value 0 to it. And then I have checked whether the element with the id b is checked inside this if condition. If so, then I have assigned a value 1 to this if variable called condition. And if it comes to the else part of this if condition, there too I have checked whether the element with the id called u is checked. If so, assigning the value to this variable called condition. And then I have created a new form data as we use the post method to send the information to the server side and storing that created form data in a variable called form. And then I have appended the values we obtained through the client side, and then I have stored the values to this form data through appending the value of the search variable with the name called s and appending that to the form variable. Here we store the data as name value pairs, and then here obtaining the time and with the name called t and appending that to the form, and then obtaining the variable called q with the name called q and appending that to the form, and then obtaining the variable called condition with the name c and appending that, and also obtaining the variable x that comes through the myproduct.php file inside as a parameter and storing that with the name page in this form. And then I am creating a new XML HTTP request and storing that in a variable called request here. And then I'm checking the change in states of this request and calling an anonymous function in each stage. And inside this anonymous function, I have used an if condition and checked whether the request or the status of this request is equal to 200 and the ready state of this request is equal to 4. If so, I'm obtaining the response text sent by this request and storing the response text in a variable called response here. And then I'm obtaining the element with the id called sort, and I'm using this response as the HTML of this element. And then I have used the open function here. I have given the method of sending this to the server side as post and sending the information to the sort process.php file, and then I have used true here to mention that I'm using Ajax method. And then I have called the send function and I have sent the form that we have created to the server side. And then let's move to the sort process.php file. Here at first I have started a session, and then I have included the connection.php file, and then I have obtained the email that's stored in the session called u and storing that in a variable called user. And then I'm obtaining the value that's sent through the client side through the name and through the method called post, and storing that in a variable called search here, and obtaining the value that's sent by the name t through the post method and storing that in a variable called time. Similarly, the q and comes through the post method and storing that in a variable called quantity, and the value that comes with by the name c through the post method and storing that in a variable called condition here. And here I have created a variable called query, and then I have assigned a common query to it as select all from the product table where user email equals to the user. And then I have used if condition and I have checked whether the search is not empty. If so, I am using this concat and equal. I have concat this remaining part of this query to the variable called query that we have created. It means we are concatenating this part to this query that we have created through this concat and equal sign. And then I have again used if condition and check whether the condition is not equal to 0. If so, there too I have used the concat and equal sign with the remaining query as and condition id equals to condition that we have value of the condition that we have obtained, and concatenating that to the query that we have created. And then in the next if condition I have checked whether the time is not equal to 0, and if so, inside that if condition I have used another if condition and checked whether the time is equal to 1. If the time is equal to 1, I have concat the remaining part of this query as order by date time added DESC. It means order by the date time added in the descending order. And if it comes to the else condition of this if condition, there too I have checked whether the time is equal to 2. If so, I'm concatenating this remaining query to the main query as order by date time added AC. It means the in ascending order. And then in the next else if condition, there I'm checking whether that variable called time is not equal to 0 and the quantity is not equal to 0. If so, inside that too I have used if condition and checked whether the quantity is equal to 1. If so, using a comma and the quantity as DESC. And then if it comes to the else if condition, there too I have checked whether the quantity is equal to 1. If so, I am using the comma and quantity as ASC. It means the ascending order, and concatenating that to the main query that we have created. And then if it comes to the else of this if condition, where I check whether the time is not equal to 0 and quantity is not equal to 0, there I have checked whether time is equal to 0 and quantity is not equal to 0. And then inside that I have used if condition with the condition as quantity equal to 1. If the quantity equal to 1, then I am using another part of the query as order by quantity DESC. Here it means when the user has not sort the products with the time, here the sorting process is done only by the quantity. That's why we are using only the order by quantity here. And then we use the DSE part as we need in descending order. And then when it comes to the else if condition, there it checks whether the quantity is equal to 2. If so, we concat this remaining part of the query to the main query, which include order by quantity as it means in ascending order. And then after that I have obtained the whole part inside this div with the ID called sort, and I have copied that and pasted here, and it's the same coding as it was in the myproducts.php file. The only thing that changed is the query that we have used here. In the myproduct.php file, we have given a query in the search functions of these products, and in the sort.php file we have given the query that we have created, or the query that we have stored in the variable called query. And then here too I have given the same stored query to the search function also. For the clear button I have given an on-click as clear sort. So then let's move to JavaScript file, and in the clear sort function I have used the window.location.reload function. It means I have reloaded the page again. So then here in this search, if we search name as iPhone, let's sort this, we can see the products are sorted by the title called iPhone. So then let's meet in the next video, and bye for now.